Welcome back. Helping us navigate through life is Resolve Counseling. Someone here, Caleb Verk, he's a psychotherapist. We're talking about workplace stress. We welcome you. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm very well. We're hearing a lot about this, I think, more than ever these days, workplace stress. And you claim there's good stress and bad stress. Explain the difference.
Absolutely. So good stress is the kind of stress that puts a fire underneath you, gets you moving, gets you motivated. And what stress really is simply your body and your mind's reaction to change. So if I get a promotion, there's stress with that, but that's good stress. I want to make sure that I can show that I can step up to the challenge.
Right.
I want to make sure that I can show I'm effective. Bad stress is when it's too extreme or too frequent that it starts tiring me out. It starts making me less effective than I would be. So some stress is motivation, too much stress is overwhelming. And that's really the difference between good stress and bad stress.
Are you seeing more and more of it these days? The bad stress.
Absolutely. We're starting to see, especially through our EAP programs, businesses are really starting to catch on that too much stress, the old way of doing things, pushing, is making people worn out, is making people less productive. And so we're seeing a lot of businesses really supporting their employees to come for counseling. We're seeing a lot of clients coming just by themselves and saying, I have too many things overwhelming and it's bleeding into my daily life with my family and friends. I'm starting to carry it home a lot more as well. And yeah, we're definitely seeing an increase in that for sure.
A simple thing just like longer hours as opposed to an 8-hour day, maybe a 10-hour day. It's chipping into that positive family life.
Absolutely. There's longer hours. There's needing to get multiple jobs. There's hours being cut. There's amalgamations that end up resolving in people being outsourced or being cut. And so there's a lot of ways that stress in the workplace is building, for sure.
What are some other, causes for stress in the workplace? So
stress in the workplace can be, when we look at the human experience, there's 5 categories. There's physical, psychological, emotional, spiritual, and workplace well-being. In any one of those places, if we're feeling that our needs are being taken away or not met enough, then there can be stress. So in the workplace, if there's bullies in the workplace, if there's too many expectations, not enough freedom, if there's too much freedom, not enough support, there's a lot of ways that people can experience stress if their basic human needs are not being met. And the most important person to make sure your needs are met is yourself. A lot of other people are focusing on their own needs being met, and so if I can learn how to meet my own needs, then I'm better able to meet the demands of work.
What are some of the signs and symptoms? I mean, a lot of people work hard.
Absolutely.
Can it manifest itself in health issues?
Absolutely. So there's stress can often cause headaches, issues with your bowels. It can cause a big one, very common, is tension, muscle tension. And too much muscle tension can end up leading to a whole bunch of other physical issues. But it also comes out in symptoms like being less interested in things. I used to find this activity really fun, but I'm no longer interested in doing it just because my overall self is worn out and exhausted. All these different things are no longer interesting. People isolate themselves from others that they used to socialize with. And so it can really pop up in a lot of different ways. But that's a really good point to identify what your specific symptoms are, because stress comes out in 100 million different ways. If I ask 100 people what stress looks like, you get 100 different answers. And so figuring out what are my symptoms of stress, that can help you get to the solution. If my symptoms, for example, are social isolation, withdrawal, I need to identify that and work on that. There's no point in working on my eating habits if it's my sleeping habits that are an issue, or my sleeping habits if it's, again, socially, I'm withdrawing. I need to focus more on that. So once you figure out the symptom, you can take the next step of figuring out the solution.
Only about 45 seconds here. If someone is watching this and a lot of this sounds sort of familiar and you think maybe you need some help, what can people do?
Well, the first biggest thing for me, my soapbox preacher part, is be intentional. Don't just accidentally expect yourself to become okay. Make sure that you're taking those steps of what used to be fun for me, what used to be healthy for me, and I'm going to intentionally do those again. If it becomes to the point where you're not able to take care of it yourself, reach out to family, friends. You can reach out. There's plenty of organizations in Kingston that are specifically focused on helping people with stress. Resolve is definitely one of them. But yeah, there's a lot of resources out there if you're intentional in looking for them.
Perfect. We thank you so much. If you have any questions for Caleb, anything specifically what we just talked about, here's how to get a hold of them.
Navigating Life is brought to you by Resolve Counseling, overcoming challenges together.